Hello. Welcome back to another legacy video, and this is the last video for this project, the adjustable threaded bar stool project. We're going to be going through the assembly process today, bringing it all together. We're also going to break down the time study, the cost, even the potential savings and profit that you can make if you were building this yourself. We'll also break down all of the tools, software, machines, everything that we used in order to build this project. So come follow me and let's go get it done. For the assembly, I'm going to pass you over to my past self because he's assembled the stool already. Now, before any of these parts can be put together, we need to add one final detail to the legs and threaded nuts, and that is a 1/4-inch radiuses to all of the exposed edges. We can see during this dry fit that the exposed edges where we want to add the radiuses have some sharp transitions. Because of that, we won't be able to add the radiuses if the stool is already assembled, but we have to compensate for these transitional points when we're adding the radiuses to each component. So the idea that I'm showing here is that I'm using a stopping block that I can temporarily attach to the ends of each component, and that way it prevents the radius from going past the transitional point too far, removing too much material. And this was a quick process. It only took 15 to 20 minutes to add the radiuses to both sides of all 6 of these components. Now we can get to the glue up. During my dry fit, I learned that it's a lot easier to insert the threaded shaft into the threaded nuts to hold these components in place and to properly lay out the spacing required for the joining of the legs to these threaded nut components. I just had to be really careful about not getting any glue on those wooden threads, and if I did, I had to wipe it off immediately. The cool thing about this floating tenon joinery that's connecting the legs to the threaded nuts is that it doesn't matter what size or brand of floating tenons you get. I just found these on Amazon and I mic'd them with a set of calipers and then matched my drawing and tool paths to fit that tenon. Normally, I like to give myself a 10/1000ths allowance for my joinery, but here I pulled that allowance a little bit tighter to about 5 to 7 thousandths. The floating tenons were tight enough that I had to tap them into those mortises. Once this first glue up has set up, I can now remove the threaded shaft and glue up the round mortise and tenon on the base of the seat. The rest of the work is sanding and finishing. And this is all down to preference on how you want to do that. While we're watching that take place, I want to break down some of the cost and potential value of this type of project. When I started doing some research, I noticed that this is a very narrow and specific niche when it comes to applying wooden threads to projects. It's not a common thing that you're going to find all over the place. You can find metal threads, but wooden threads are actually quite rare. So this type of project is going to fall under custom furniture prices. But first, let's see what it costs to build it. Altogether, when we combine all of the finished blanks that went into the CNC, it came out to a total of 10 board feet. I had about 25% of wasted material, so I actually started out with 14 board feet of material to make this entire project. Now, I recommend a material that has a tighter grain and is not soft. That way you have good structure in the wooden threads as this is being used throughout the years. For example, my personal preference is hard maple. Now the price of maple varies where you're at, but in general, when I researched the averages, it usually fell between $4.50 up to $10 a board foot. So at 14 board feet, this cost anywhere between $63 and $140 in materials to build this project. After you add the cost of glue and finish, I'm going to round that to $160. Now, this project took almost an entire day to make. Now, I don't have the most professional tools to do all my material prep and steps before the CNC. It took me about 2 hours to do all the material prep. The cutting time of actually producing the parts and all the steps necessary before the glue up was 2.5 hours. And the assembly, sanding, and finish was about 3 hours. I put about 2 hours into sanding, and I did an oil finish, which in total was about an hour's worth of work, but I have to wait for those stages to dry in between each coat. If you have better equipment in order to do your material prep even faster, or perhaps you have a proper spray booth set up, you can do your finishing a lot faster than what I'm showing here. Again, because this falls under custom furniture pricing, I found that this type of project would range between $500 and $900 per stool. Now, I've also seen custom threaded stools similar to this that were even smaller, used for piano stools, that were selling for about $1,000 a piece. We also got offered $800 for one of these stools at one of our recent trade shows that we went to last year. So if we would have sold it for $800 and have a $160 overhead cost, we have a $640 profit margin. Also, in residential areas where they're buying stools similar to this for a bar or countertop, on average, they're buying 3 or more. So if you're building 3 stools in 3 days, you got a lot of profit potential, whether you're doing this as a side hustle or perhaps expanding your business into other opportunities. Now, to wrap things up, I want to cover everything that we used to make this entire project, including the software, the cutters, the machines, fixtures, everything that we used. So the first thing is the software. And we used Vectric's Aspire CAD/CAM software to do all the designing and most of the programming for the parts. Anything done on the horizontal workstation and on the vertical workstation of the CNC was all programmed using the Vectric software. They are by far our favorite CAD/CAM software to use when it comes to 3-axis CNC capabilities. And so I highly recommend checking them out at vectric.com. The other software we used is also Legacy's Conversational Cam Pro software. And we use this to program the turning of the threaded shaft. This software allows you to take advantage of both turnings and multi-sided spindle designs using the shapes of cutters to our advantage. You can check out how easy it is to use this software and the advantages that we're talking about by checking out the videos on our website at legacywoodworking.com. Just go to the CNC training page and down to software, and you'll find all of those videos. For tooling, we use 7 cutters on the CNC, including a 1/2-inch straight cutter with a 2-inch cut length, a 1/4-inch down spiral, a 3/8 side V-grooving tool, a 3/4-inch radius plunge roundover, a 1-inch core box, a 1.25-inch surfacing cutter, and a 90-degree V-bit. On the router table, we also used a 1/4-inch flush trim bit and a 1/4-inch roundover cutter. All of these tools we got at magnate.net, and they have more choices for custom profile cutters than any other tool manufacturer that we know of. Go and check them out at magnate.net. Now, the main tool that really made this entire project come together is Legacy's Robbie 1 Pro CNC machine. And we used every single workstation to complete the entire project, including the horizontal table to cut out all the parts, including the leg, the threaded nut, our fixture plate, the custom fence that went into the vertical table, and the double-sided seat. What made using the horizontal table so easy to make these parts was the fixturing of the T-slot tables combined with Legacy's low pro clamps. These press in from the side, but also at a downward slope to ensure the part doesn't lift as you're clamping the part down and while you're machining. The table fixtures have been designed so that the horizontal table can be removed and we can expose the vertical workstation and the turning center underneath. Using that custom fence mounted directly to our vertical plate, it was easy to mount our parts exactly where they needed to be so that we could cut those mortises in the exact position for both the legs and the threaded nuts. The clamping fixtures that made the vertical workstation so easy to use was the included vertical plate that already had pre-laid out holes of 1/4-20 threads as well as 5/8 through holes. We could easily insert dog clamps directly into the 5/8 holes from strong hand tools, as well as inserting the Incra Build-It clamps. The turning center allowed us to mount the threaded shaft between centers so that we could turn the stock round, add the round tenon on the ends, and cut the threads along the shaft. The turning center includes a self-centering 4-jaw chuck from Record and makes it really easy to clamp and unclamp parts between centers. Well, guys, it's finished. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoy building these types of projects. And so if you have any ideas on variations on how you would change this design to use it in different ways, share those ideas down below in the comment section. You never know, we might actually revisit this project and just do a variation of what you guys give us as ideas. So if you're interested in learning more about a legacy CNC system, there are a pile of resources, including tons of videos here on our YouTube channel, but you're always welcome to jump on over to our website at legacywoodworking.com. There you can find a lot more product information and additional resources pertaining to our CNC machines. Now, as we've been making the videos for this project, we've received a number of questions, and we want to dive into those a little bit deeper when it comes to understanding the CAD/CAM software. So in the next upcoming videos, we're going to be showing how we did the threading, the internal and external threading process for this project, and a few other tips and tricks. So keep an eye out for those. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.